At Sierra, discover great deals on top brand workout gear, like high-quality bikes, which might lead to another discovery. Getting back on the saddle isn't always comfortable. Good news is Sierra has massage guns. And chafe wipes, too. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up a 7-layer dip, or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food. No matter what you're craving, from 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings, Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week, all season long. Uber Eats, official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Get your holidays started with the perfect tree in your perfect style from the Home Depot. Whether you want something that you can assemble in a few clicks, steal the show with over 2,000 color-changing bulbs, or a tree with lights that can be controlled by remote or foot pedal. The Home Depot has it all in our huge assortment of premium trees. Plus, get free delivery on over 2 million items this holiday from the Home Depot. Subject to availability, see homedepot.com/delivery for details.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Red, your lunchtime catch-up on all things Liverpool FC and your daily reminder that the Reds are top of the league, at least for another day. Liverpool-Chelsea this weekend. It's our biggest test so far this season. Chelsea have started pretty well. They're fourth in the league. They look good going forward. They don't look particularly good defensively. And there are times when Cole Palmer's not on his game, which has happened a few times this season, they do look a little bit stodgy, a little bit short of ideas. Obviously, their manager is a Pep Guardiola disciple, and he preaches control. He wants to have as much of the ball as possible and break teams down mostly by tiring them out. The thing for this Chelsea team, though, is they do have a lot of depth in attack. They can roll out a starting attacking four of Noni Mudeki, Cole Palmer, Jadon Sancho, and Nicholas Jackson. And then in reserve, you're looking at Neto, you're looking at João Felix, Hendrick, and Christopher Nkunku. Now, I personally would be of the belief that Neto and Nkunku are better players than any of Sancho, Mudeki, or Jackson. I think that's quite fair. I think Palmer is obviously their biggest threat. He's the one that they're so heavily reliant on for their goals. He's also their primary creator. He will cause us problems, there's no question. He picks up good positions. He's clever in how he uses space. So we will have to be diligent and alert to the threat that he carries. These two teams have played 196 times across the history of both clubs. First meeting was 25th of December, 1907, a Christmas Day game. Imagine the temper tantrums if there was a Christmas game on now. Our last meeting was obviously the EFL Cup final back in February when we won 1-0. We have won the last two games between the two clubs. We hammered them at Anfield in the league and then beat them in the EFL Cup final with that Virgil header. We obviously drew with them in the third game last season, which was the opening day of the season when Nicholas Jackson was allowed to slap the ball and no penalty was given. Jamie Carragher has made the most appearances in this tie. 45 of them. I mean, it's funny, they kind of became our rival through Jose. Jose sort of picked a fight with everybody when he landed in England. Prior to that, Chelsea were never a club that we considered rivals. They were just another London club. Our rivals were United, Everton, and Arsenal. And Arsenal was largely just down to the fact that they, along with United and ourselves, were one of the three big clubs in England. Everton, obviously, is more of a geographical, local thing, and United is just, that's what it is, the two biggest clubs in England. When Jose arrived, he decided to pick a fight with Arsenal, with ourselves, and with United. He was going to take on the establishment. But he always had a bit more respect for Ferguson than he ever did for either Benitez or Wenger. And because of the personality types, I think he found it easier to poke at them, knowing that they're very respectful, very, not softly spoken, but they're more careful with what they say, whereas Ferguson was more of a firebrand and would fire back at him. So he didn't poke Ferguson quite as much as he did Rafa or Wenger. And I think his idea was, I'm going to move Liverpool and Arsenal out of the public discourse, and people are going to talk about United versus Chelsea. But what that did was it sparked the rivalry with us. And Carragher was such a huge part of that. I mean, you think back to those great battles that we had with Chelsea in the 2000s, Carragher's front and centre at so many of them, as obviously are Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard, John Terry, Didier Drogba. Ian Rush is the top scorer in this fixture. He scored 10 goals. We hold the all-time advantage. We have 86 wins to their 65. There's been 46 draws. The largest victory in a Liverpool-Chelsea game came back in 1935. Liverpool beat them 6-0 at Anfield. The highest scoring game was in 1946. That was a 7-4 at Anfield. Liverpool win, obviously. The longest winning streak was a 5-game Liverpool winning streak between 1972 and 1974. The longest unbeaten streak was an 11-game Liverpool unbeaten streak between 1985 and 1990. And the current unbeaten streak is 9 games. They haven't beaten us in 9 games, dating back to 2021. So we have had the better of them in recent years. We know that. We know that we've gone into 3 cup finals against them, and we've come away with the trophy every single time. Now, we were comfortably the better team in 2022 going into those finals. We were the better team. And we were the better team last year as well, but of course we were fairly diminished with injuries last year. So it was a great achievement for us to win that League Cup, considering how many young players we were having to play. And Chelsea fans will say, oh, we had young players. Well, yeah, but you bought all of yours for like 40 million quid each. Ours actually came through our academy. The highest attendance per game between the two teams. Obviously, Wembley is the biggest stadium the clubs have played in, so the top 4 are all Wembley. You've got 2012 FA Cup final. Chelsea beat us 2-1. Andy Carroll missed that unbelievable chance, or Peter Cech made a great save. You can look at it either way. The League Cup final last year, 88,000, nearly 89,000 at that one. In 2022, then, those 2 cup finals as well. The League Cup final in the Millennium Stadium in 2005, which unfortunately they won. Then an FA, I assume it's an FA Cup semi-final in 1965 that was played at Villa Park. Likewise, I would imagine an FA Cup semi-final in 2006. That's the Luis Garcia goal not the famous goal, but the better goal he scored against them. That's the semi-final. We beat them, and we would go on to beat West Ham in the cup final. In April of 1965, over 62,500 people at Stamford Bridge. And then there's two at Anfield, one in 1959, and then January of this year, 57,500 people. And then a charity shield game at the Millennium Stadium that nobody cares about. We've got the better of them in the league. They've gotten the better of us in the FA Cup overall. They've won 7 to our 4. In the league, it's 71 to 51, 40 draws. The League Cup is dead even, 4 wins each out of 9 games. In the Champions League, they've beaten us 3 times. We've only beaten them twice. It's been 5 draws. In the UEFA Super Cup, there was 1 game. It's marked as a draw, but we did win that game on penalties. And then we've played them once in the Community Shield and we beat them. The league is what's important here. The league is where we need to continue to express dominance over them. They spend ridiculous money. You would imagine at some point they will get it right. They may not. Todd Bowley is a buffoon, but they may not. They may get it right, they may not. We'll see. Chances are, at some point in the next couple of years, they're going to be really, really good. They've got a lot of really good players. You know, we might laugh about Reece James and the fact that he never plays, but he is a really good player, and Malo Gusto's a good right back as well. Fofana is excellent if he can stay fit. Colwill is a massive talent. Disasi, Badiashile, Tosin, they're solid defenders. Yes, there's some errors in them, but it's a good core of centre-backs. If Fofana can stay fit, Fofana and Colwill could be one of the better pairings in the league. I don't particularly like any of their left-back options, but Cucurella is decent. I wouldn't be enamoured with their goalkeepers, but they've bought a bunch of young goalkeepers, so there is the possibility that one of Jorgensen, Penders, or Slanina develops into a very, very good goalkeeper. The midfield doesn't work very well. They're both brilliant in their own right, Enzo and Caicedo.
Oh, it's such a clutch off-season pickup, Dave.
I was worried we'd bring back the same team.
I meant those blackout motorized shades.
Blinds.com made it crazy affordable to replace our old blinds.
Hard to install?
No, it's easy. I installed these and then got some for my mom. She talked to a design consultant for free and scheduled a professional measure and install.
Hall of Fame son.
They're the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings in the world.
Blinds.com is the GOAT.
Shop Blinds.com right now and get up to 40% off select styles. Rules and restrictions may apply.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouthwatering meals. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices. Plus, extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with points. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
You got 5 on it? With the $5 meal deal at McDonald's, you about to eat. Your choice of a tender, juicy McChicken or a hot, cheesy McDouble sandwich and a crispy 4-piece McNuggets and a small fries and a small drink for just $5.
Money.
Woo. 5 gets you more at McDonald's. Prices and participation may vary. For limited time only.
Their skill sets don't complement each other very well. So that midfield doesn't work all that well. But they do have a bunch of other midfielders like Romeo Lavia, Andre Santos, Leslie Ogochukwu, Carney Chukwuemeka, and chances are at some point they'll stumble on a pairing that works. We know Cole Palmer is a star, and we've been over the other forward options. The chances are that at some point they get this right. I don't think it'll be under this manager. But I do think they'll get it right soon enough. I don't think they're a million miles away, as much as we might like to laugh at them and how much money they've spent. I think when you look at the possibility of, let's just say Reece James can put together a season where he plays 28 Premier League games and Fofana plays 33 and Colwell's ever present and they buy the right left back to finish off that back four. With the depth that they'll have, that's really strong. Again, one of the goalkeepers, like there's three of them that are big-time talents. The likelihood is that one of them becomes at least a very good, if not great, goalkeeper. Mike Penders is probably the one most likely. He's the youngest of them. He's the one that's most highly regarded. But Jorgensen is a good goalkeeper. And Slonina does look very promising. Again, they'll stumble on the right midfield and they'll stumble on the right mix in attack. That might be Neto right and Kunku left, or Palmer right, Neto left, and Kunku as the 10. And like, when you watch Nicholas Jackson, he does a lot of stuff really well. Like, a lot of what he does is very, very good. He is a big-time handful for centre-backs. He's got good movement, he's quick, he's strong, his hold-up play is good, he brings others into the game. The finishing is diabolical. It's like he makes Darwin look like a poacher. But with Nkunku and Palmer behind him potentially, I mean, they both have the potential to be 20-goal-a-season players in the Premier League. So they don't need Jackson to be a 20-goal striker. If he could get 12 to 15, and then you're getting not obviously the same makeup, but you could get the same type of goal production in the league as we used to get from Salah, Bobby and Mane. Where Mo might get us, say, 23 in the league, Sadio might be at 18, 19, and Bobby might be at 14. Maybe they can configure their attack to get those type of numbers. They certainly get enough penalties for Palmer to stat pad. And then Neto offers a big-time threat and creation and pace, but the question over him will always be fitness, as with Reece James. And this is kind of where they'll fall down, is there's a lot of injury questions over a lot of key players in that squad, like Neto, like Nkunku, like Reece James, like Fofana. These players have to stay fit, and they don't have any track record of staying fit. But we shouldn't write them off for the next. Like, we can look at United and think, like, they're miles away. United are miles away. Chelsea aren't. They really aren't. And they've bought so many superbly talented young players. Like, I didn't even mention the fact that they've got Willian Estevao and Kendry Paez to come. Two of the best young players in the world. They're to arrive in the next 2 years. It's more attacking threat. Now, it'll take them time to adapt and settle into the Premier League, and I do have significant concerns about Willian Estevao and how he'll adapt to the Premier League, because he's very lightweight. He's a small kind of kid, you know. I could see he's skinny. I could see him getting physically dominated by people. But like, when you buy as many players as they have, you're going to stumble onto an 11 that works really well. And there's no signs of them stopping. Like, they're flagrantly cheating. They're not cheating, but they're bending the rules as far as they possibly can without breaking them. So they clearly want to continue in the vein that they're going. There's been a lot of players obviously played for both teams. Nicolas Anelka played for us in 2001 on loan from PSG. And in 2007, he joined Chelsea, where he played for 4 years. Yossi Benayoun played for us from 07 to 09, joined them in 2010, and stayed there till 2012. Didn't play nearly as much for them as he did for us, whereas Anelka was the opposite situation. Fabio Borini played for both clubs. Joe Cole, of course, played for both clubs. Wasn't that Wasn't that a joy? Glenn Johnson played for both clubs. They're not great examples for the most part. Raul Morelos, who had famously a 6-game purple patch for us, and people thought he was outstanding, despite the fact that most of that season he was bang average. He left us to join them because we wouldn't give him a new contract, largely because he didn't deserve one. Victor Moses was a Chelsea player when we loaned him back in the 13-14 season. Dominic Solanke, we nicked from their academy after they failed to get him to sign a new contract. Raheem Sterling played for us, developed through our academy after coming in from QPR. And then we sold him to City, and then he went on to have great success there. And then he went to Chelsea, and it didn't really work from a Chelsea. Just didn't work. So he's now on loan at Arsenal. Daniel Sturridge, we bought directly from them. He was incredible for us when he was fit. I think the most talented English striker of his generation, and his generation includes Harry Kane. There's no question Harry Kane's the better player. I think Sturridge is more talented, and if not for the injuries, I think Sturridge would have been the better player. Fernando Judas Torres, who left us in, I say that in jest really, who left us in 2010 to join Chelsea. We knew his knee was fucked. He knew his knee was fucked. They didn't bother to do a medical. And after the money had hit the bank, then they discovered, oh, his knee's fucked. He's not the same guy anymore. So that was a bit disappointing for them. And then Bolo Zenden played for both clubs as well. Of course, the most famous player to play for both is Mohamed Salah, who flopped, quote-unquote, at Chelsea when he wasn't given any opportunities, went to Italy, remade himself, joined us, and became the greatest wide-forward or winger in Premier League history. There's also been a bunch of women that played for both clubs, if you want to list them. Jade Bailey, Niamh Charles, Bethany England, Niamh Fahy, Gilly Flaherty, Sophie Ingle, Frances Kitchen, Miri Taylor, and Charlotte Wardlow. So there you go. That is all the players who have played for both clubs in the Premier League era. There's been others in the past, but the Premier League era. Anelka, I wish we had signed. We, of course, wasted money on Juff. Yossi was good for us, but him leaving wasn't a big deal. Barini wasn't good enough for us. Joe Cole was washed. Glenn Johnson was mediocre on a good day. Raul Morelos was slightly above average. Victor Moses, credit to Victor Moses, he's still playing. And he recently realised he's still playing. Where did I see he was playing, Mr. Quest? He'd been in Russia for a bunch of years. And he's now playing for Luton. He's still only 33, which seems mental. You forget how young he was when we had him. Came through at Palace. Went to Wigan. From there to Chelsea. 9 years he was contracted to Chelsea. 9 years. He had 6 loans. Played 128 games across 9 years. And he was vital to them winning the Premier League title in 16-17 when Conte remade him as a winger. Or wing-back, rather. Mo was obviously unbelievable. Solanke's gone on to do very well for himself, but he wasn't good enough for us at the time. But he wasn't bought to be good enough. He was bought to flip. Sterling was great for us. Sturridge was great for us. We've definitely gotten the better of this. There's nobody other than Anelka who's been better for them than they were for us. Yeah, it's just Anelka. I don't know about the women's players. I have no idea. But Yossi was much better for us. Barini was better for us, but still not good enough. Cole was better for them as well. Cole was better for them. Glenn Johnson was mediocre for both. Morelos was definitely better for us. suppose Victor Mills. We didn't buy Victor Mills, so I'm not counting him. But Salah better for us, Solanke better for us, Sterling better for us, Sturridge better for us, Nando better for us, and Zenden better for us. On This Is Anfield, there is some preview pieces ahead of this weekend's game. Chelsea boss reveals good news on injuries versus Liverpool despite 2 absences. Let's have a look. Ex-Liverpool winger has contract ripped up after Swift Jose Mourinho verdict. My assumption is that's Ryan Kent. Let's see. There's been a lot of talk about him leaving Fenerbahce for about a year anyway. Yeah, Ryan Kent. Less than 6 months after Jose Mourinho's arrival at Fenerbahce, Ryan Kent has terminated his contract as he seeks a new club. From the moment he got there, there was just talk that he was going to be gone. Reece James is back in contention. He's returned to training. Can't imagine there's any chance he plays against us. Maybe off the bench for 10 to 15 minutes. But I can't imagine he's going to start. It will be absolutely mental to start him. They won't have Fofana. They won't have Cucurella. My guess is Gusto, Disasi, Colwell, and Renato Viega as the back four. Plenty for us to get at an attack there. AnfieldIndex.com. What do you have for me? There's an analysis of our defence and how well we started in that regard. There is a piece about multiple journalists coming out and saying that Trent is a priority target for Real Madrid. There's a piece on the latest team news ahead of this weekend's game. There is Jermaine Pennant giving his verdict on this upcoming game. And then there is a piece on Julian Fernandez, who is a 20-year-old Argentine winger for Vélez Sarsfield, who is being linked to us. Check all of those out. Podcast-wise, I don't think I mentioned yesterday, there is a new Under Pressure. If you haven't heard that, go and listen to it. There is the Arne Slot press conference from today. There is the David Lynch podcast from today. There is the Dave Davis post-press conference podcast as well. There's a new Media Matters, which is Dave and Ben. It's the Stat Me Up pod. There's 2 new Scouteds out. One for the Chelsea game, one where we played a team-building thing that Isaac Gilding had sent on to us. And there's something else. Oh, no, the Under Pressure was what I was missing. Yeah, right. That's it. That's everything. No Moby on the spot at the moment. Things are just getting in the way, but it will be back. Don't have any worries. Moby on the spot will return. We will have post-match Raw on Sunday after the game. I would have thought there'd be a rival recon by now. It may well still come out later today. So yeah, we'll be back for Raw on Sunday. Dave Davis will be here for this tomorrow and Sunday. And I will speak to you all on Monday. Take care of yourselves. Have a great weekend and stay safe out there.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this Anfield Index show. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel so future podcasts find their way to your device automatically. There's nothing quite like fan engagement, and we'd love to know what you think of anything discussed on this show. The best way to get in touch is over on our free Discord community, where both podcasters and listeners debate the hottest LFC topics 24/7. Sign up free now at AnfieldIndex.com/Discord. You won't regret it. You can also follow us on Twitter at Anfield Index and find us on Facebook by searching for Anfield Index. Oh, and before you go, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast app. It only takes a couple of seconds, and it means the world to the people who create these free shows.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
A great workout deserves a great reward. Treat yourself right with new coconut smoothie bowls made with fresh fruit, purely Elizabeth granola, and now creamy coconut. You earned it. Grab a treat you can feel good about, only at Smoothie King.